Yeah. So very, very warm welcome to each one of you. And thank you so much for joining us today. While we are introducing, it would be really nice if in the chat box you could probably put in your name and also the school that you come from, because I know we have people from many different states here. And it's actually very heartening to see so many of you here today. So thank you. And for the benefit of some of our other teachers, I will also speak in Hindi. तो थैंक यू सो मच टीचर, आज आप हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं. हमने कुछ स्कूल्स के साथ गूगल एजुकेशन के साथ मिलकर ट्रेनिंग भी कंडक्ट किया था कंप्यूटेशनल थिंकिंग में. तो वो सारे हमारे एक्चुअली CS पाठशाला के साथ सारे नए टीचर्स भी बहुत से जुड़े हैं आज. एंड वी कैन सी पीपल फ्रॉम पौंडीचेरी ऑल्सो. So thank you so much. And these are, these are all teachers who have joined in teaching computational thinking in the last couple of months. So very warm welcome to each one of you. Just to give, for the benefit of all of you who are new, I want to give you so this time we are planning to have it in person again, right? So this is a screenshot of our first CTiS, right? We started with 124 participants, and I'm sure some of you, Geeta is there, and we have some of you who were part of it. So we are really looking forward to this year as well. And we are planning to do it in the hybrid mode so that, teachers who cannot join us in person will be there with us online. So this is just a snapshot. And I'll tell you another thing. When we started with CTiS, the whole idea was to provide this platform to all our teachers so that they can showcase their ideas, right? How do we reach out, whatever experiments you have done, whatever the challenges you have addressed, how do we share that with other teachers as well? So the whole idea of having CTiS is to provide all of you with the platform. And this is organized by CSpathshala and ACM India. And this is a platform to share your in-classroom experiences, like I said, the challenges you have faced, some of the best practices, right? So I would really urge each one of you to, do submit in your abstracts, and we will, walk you through it. We are there. Meenakshi is there. Geeta is there. We have other people from PC. Pratiksha is there who will be able to answer any questions. Now, one of the most important things is the mentorship program that is provided by the program committee also, because what happens once your abstract gets selected, then, a program committee member works closely with the teacher, helps her or him to make the presentation at the conference. And I would take a lot of pride in sharing that, CTiS is not restricted just to this particular conference, but it enabled an opportunity for teachers to present at international conferences as well. And like I showed you the picture of the first CTiS, right? We had 124 participants, and all majority were Pune based.
एकदम टाइम नुसार नसते ग 5:30 ला टाकते ते पण आता
sorry about that. So basically this whole family grew. We had 1100 plus participants across 19 countries last time. And this is what I was telling you about, that our teachers went ahead to present at the CTiS2022 conference, which was conducted at Singapore. And I would like to share that, these are 4 abstracts that we selected from CTiS 2020. And Venkatesh Raman, Jam, and me, we mentored all these teachers. And, all the 4 abstracts that we submitted to the conference were all selected for final presentation. So we had Pooja Palaparthi and Lakshmi Durga from Andhra Pradesh Social Welfare. We have Malar Vizi from Tamil Nadu. With her, we had Kritika. And we also had Susanna Sunil from Global Public School, Kochi. And, I was present at the Teachers Forum. There was so much interest in, teachers from other schools interested in finding more about what were we doing in computational thinking in India. And, on the final day, when Pooja called me up and she said, Sonia ma'am, you must join. And, the good news was that Pooja had won the best paper award. And I have put in pictures from Pooja's paper only. So the binary conversion that you see and the Sudoku example that you see is from Pooja's paper. And just to give you a brief idea, so what had happened was the Sudoku, if you see, it is from the local fruits that are there in Andhra Pradesh. So these were children who had come from tribal schools and did not even speak Telugu, forget English. So, to address this challenge, Pooja used these fruits to teach them how to solve a 4x4 Sudoku. And then, of course, after that, there was no stopping and they were doing extremely well. Now, a quick look at CTiS 2021. We received 69 abstracts, and we not only from India. So from India, we had 12 states, but we also had abstracts from Pakistan, Singapore, and US. And the number of abstracts shortlisted were 16. We had 6 invited speakers. Now, just to tell you that the criteria for the selection was individual experience and novelty of the examples, right? What was new that could be shared with other teachers. And the process for selection is, it is reviewed by 2 program committee members, and then the final selections are made after discussions. This is our program committee, CTiS 2020. We have Meenakshi and Pratiksha with us. I don't know how many, of course, we have Kritika also. I don't know how many else have joined today, but a warm welcome to them too. And just to walk you through the topics that you can submit for CTiS 2022. So you can have CT and coding, CT based on unplugged activities in any subject. You could be a maths teacher, a science teacher, a subject teacher, social studies teacher. And another thing, I think one of those teachers had called me and asked me that, we have a computer teacher in our school and I want to do a joint paper. So multiple, so a couple of authors can come together and submit a joint abstract that we will walk you through it when we do the template for the call for abstracts. Then we have CT for students with special needs, CT for professional development of teachers, CT in math education. We have a lot of math teachers with us today. CT in science education, social sciences. Then challenges in integrating CT in the school curriculum, right? Were there any challenges that you faced? Then how did you integrate? So to give you an example of how the School of Scholars or the Meghe group of schools does it, right? What they have done is they have integrated it part of their math and computer curriculum. So how you have integrated, which classes are you teaching? We would be very, very happy to hear that. Assessment of CT, impact of CT activities on student learning, CT in the context of online classes. A lot of you taught CT during COVID, right? So we would also like to hear, how did you do that? What different, so if you did, like, just to give you an example, because this is an example that everybody is used to. So if we did guess my birth date, so how did you adopt it online versus how when we use a blackboard to do it? Then a localization and adaptation of CSpathshala curriculum to suit local needs. Like I showed you Pooja's example of doing a 4x4 Sudoku. You could have done anything else, like for guess my birth date, they use they make paper coins with all the numbers and then they eliminate. Okay, so if you go, I will share the link as well, but we also have 2 sample abstracts which will guide you. CT and physical computing. A lot of people say, oh, we do CT part of our ATL labs. So wherever you have it, you can contribute. Then CT and physical computing is done. CT and national education policy. As all of you know now, computational thinking is part of National Education Policy 2020. So if you have anything to write up on that, CT and societal problems. So this was an abstract that was submitted last year by one of the teachers from the Meghe group of schools on how, they had this, they came up with this technology for washrooms, right? So any societal problems that you are going to challenge. There was somebody who had on garbage collection, sorting of garbage, any societal problems that you would address. Also, this is the suggested topics but can be any other topic too that you would like to share your interesting experience on. And the most important thing, deadline for submissions is 1st of May. So please send in your abstracts before 1st of May. And notification to the selected authors will be by 10th of June. This is the link to the CTiS website. I will put the link also in the website. And I'm sure all of you have received the mailer with the call for abstracts and the sample abstracts. In case you have any questions, please contact us at CTiS2022 at CSpathshala.org. Now, what I'll do is I will stop sharing my presentation and we can quickly take any questions or any doubts that you have related to your submissions. So feel free to ask us any questions that you may have. Anybody? Anybody has any questions, any ideas they want to share on their abstracts?
Yeah, you could type in the chat window or unmute and talk, whichever is convenient.
Whatever is convenient.
Hello, Sonia. Good evening.
Good evening.
Manisha here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. So Sonia, actually, I am quite familiar with the writing of abstract and what is computational thinking. But there are many new teachers. They are actually practicing computational thinking, but they don't know where that concept is coming in their curriculum. So can they take the topic which is already done in the classroom?
Of course.
Because the time is very short. So whatever they have done, can they present as an abstract?
Absolutely. They don't have to go and try out anything new. They have to do whatever they have taught. Yeah, Manisha, whatever they have taught, they can correlate to CT principles and do it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sonia, for clearing that.
Thanks.
Because there are many teachers, they can go forward and write.
And
there is
like you who have
time is very less now.
No. See, teachers like you who have been presenters at CTiS, that is the whole idea of including all of you, that you must help other teachers, mentor them, tell them how, because see, everybody has this little bit of fear that, oh, I want to write, but is this the right thing to write? How do I correlate? So that is why the whole idea is that all our presenters from the last 3 years should actually give ideas, get them, help them in your own schools, right? Can we talk about financial management and how to earn money online and offline? How do you link that to computational thinking? Hindu? See, this has to be related to computational thinking principles. Right? So I will give you an example, right? If you look at the stock market, right? There is a pattern. So are you looking at that pattern? How are you using computational thinking to teach any concept in financial management also? You're more than welcome to send us an abstract on that. Are you using decomposition? Are you using abstraction? Are you using writing an algorithm to do something?
Yeah, and how it is related to the school education.
Absolutely. How is it related to? If it's a concept taught in school education, of course. Yes, anybody else? don't think we are here. So that is why it's called Chai Pe Charcha. Come on, it is all to do Charcha only, not one-way traffic.
Yeah, hello. This is Parikant. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
So actually, I'm a PhD research scholar at IIT Delhi, and I'm very passionate about computing education. So I also registered as a CSpathshala and almost associated with long time.
Yes.
And I did a lot of publicity for last CTiS.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm also very attached with the Niti Aayog, with the Atal Innovation Mission, right, where we, do mentoring of a lot of school kids, right, especially in terms of technology. So I do have a bunch of ideas that, along with my other colleague, I want to submit, right. So it's more of the, I'm not sure I can call it a research paper, maybe a kind of case study, maybe because we have seen that we have, kids were exposed to the digital technologies, okay, like website making, apps and all. And finally, they were able to come up with the digital products. In fact, some of them were, mentored by ISB. So how can I, this was the last entrepreneur. I must say, it was one of the biggest boot camp nobody made ever. It was completely online, of course, because of Corona. Thanks to Corona, right? We figured it out the another strength. And like 9,000 students were registered. It was a huge exercise, right? And it was at massive scale throughout the India. So we were able to expose the computational thinking in a student. Not only that, completely hands-on. They have gone through the entire cycle of learning from technology to making a small digital product kind of thing in terms of services and all. So this experience I want to share with the community, right? Because the kids were from 6th standard to 12th standard. I'm very proudly say one of my students from 6th standard, she has made a website, for offering healthcare services, and one of the top 20 team out of this 9,000 student mentored by ISV at such a young age. So how can you suggest me like how I can put this experience in the words and submit to the CTiS?
Yes. Meenakshi, you want to take the question?
Yeah, I think definitely, Manikant. I think it's like a good idea. That you are viewing it from a different perspective in the sense of implementation, not directly as a teacher, but also as a researcher who is looking at the how various other aspects of the problem. So I would definitely request you to please go ahead and submit. You have a lot of time, 3 more weeks, and please do that, and feel free to rope in the others, the team members you have worked with.
Correct. Yeah.
As co-authors.
So, yeah, that's what is planning. Like we are the mentors, right? And
right.
And writing a collective effort, because we really want to share with the community. This is how it can be done, and can we replicate into the rural areas or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, feel free to rope in teachers and others whom you work with as co-authors, and if you would like us to look at a draft, any sort of help, we'll be happy to provide.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, so I can go ahead with this idea, right?
Yeah,
I was just
please do that.
thanks to this Chai Pe Charcha, because I was just keep on thinking in my mind. Yeah. Thank you.
But I'm so glad you shared it. Thank you so much, Manika. Yeah. Anybody else? Please feel free to share your ideas.
Sonia, a few people are saying that.
Yeah, but you are audible, Meenakshi. I can hear you very clearly.
Yeah.
Meeting.
I do hope it is better now. Feel free to type in or ask your questions, please. Do we also walk through the template today quickly?
Yeah, let's do that.
Last time. Yeah, maybe we'll get started with that.
Is Pratiksha there?
Pratiksha or Geeta? Whoever.
Geeta dropped off and now she can't join.
Yeah, so that's the next question also. Amarja has asked, can you please give an example of how to write the abstract?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will walk you all through the process.
So you want me to do that, Kya?
Yeah, because I didn't see Pratiksha from the beginning today.
Yeah, I'll just open the website. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So should I go to the sample abstracts first?
Yeah, because there was a question also specific to that.
So these are the topics we already discussed. I'll just very quickly walk you through the abstract template so you have an idea. So this is all that it has. Abstract title. I told you that we can have, multiple teachers as authors, your school affiliation, your address, the email IDs are very important. And you start with a short abstract in about 150 words. This is the brief background about your school that we need, information on the school, when was it established, number of students that you have, the standards, the classes that you teach, what is the gender ratio, socio-economic background of the children studying in your school, how many teachers in the school, when did you start implementing computational thinking, how many periods in a week for computational thinking, and how many teachers are involved. So just for the benefit of our teachers from Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, because what happens is in their case, they also have it part of their math textbook, which is called information processing track. So there it's already integrated there. Now, the implementation. So you should give sufficiently detailed examples of on how the lesson or the concept was implemented in the classroom. What exactly did the students do? What did the teachers do? And specifically mention the task that you did on the concept. What was the duration? What was the class size? Any other relevant details that you may have. Challenges if you faced any, right? Did you face any difficulties? That is why. So like, last time somebody said she had difficulty teaching Morse code. So then she used a string of beads to be able to do that. So any challenge that you face. Okay. Describe the impact. So what is the change that you saw after teaching that activity in the specific performance of the students, or how did you measure it? Did you do a systematic study to collect the students' feedback, or, or however you have evaluated it, performance in a test or in a challenge, whatever. And another thing is, please feel free to add photographs or links to any videos that you may have. Conclusion and a summary of the remarks, right? And references if you have, but my earnest request to everybody is, please don't, this has to be your original abstract, don't take anything from the net. We don't want concepts from there. It whatever you have done in the classroom in your simple language, और एक और बात है, आप हिंदी में, मराठी में या इंग्लिश में अपना abstract submit कर सकते हैं. ठीक है? Okay till here. Anybody has questions with the template? Or is it clear? Clear? Okay. So I will show you a sample abstract.
Sonia, I'm not sure if you're talking, but we lost your audio. We can see a screen that contains a sample abstract.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I
So
can
when
hear
did you
now.
lose
Maybe
me?
you should walk through from the beginning. Because
Oh,
we
sorry.
didn't- And maybe increase the font size or the same thing expanded out so that all the participants can see it clearer.
You're clear now?
Yeah, I think if you go full size, requesting everyone to go full screen, and then whatever
Yeah,
Sonia is sharing is visible.
Yeah.
No, at this top, Sonia, you see that 100%. No, make that.
Should I increase it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
How much
120
should I-
or something. Yeah.
Okay.
120.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start from the beginning, right? You guys
Yeah.
lost my voice. Okay, so this is a sample abstract. This is the variation of the birthday puzzle, the guess my birthday game that all of you are familiar with, most of you. So this is how the abstract has been written. So we have explored some interesting variations on the birthday puzzle in the school period. Okay, and we found that it was very helpful in getting the students interested. Okay, and this sample abstract has been sent as an email attachment to all of you as well. But in case you have not received it, please come to the CTiS website. You can get the link and see the sample abstracts and the abstract template. Okay, so this is information about the school. Then this is how it is standard implementation, and then the need for variation. So this is a variation that was shared by one of our teachers. So instead of doing a very simple thing from 1 to 31, the teacher said, let me expand it to 1 to 100 boxes. And that teacher hid a chocolate in one of the boxes. So they had to guess the box which contains the chocolate. Okay. So that is a simple variation that the teacher used. And then you are supposed to explain how you came up with the variation, any screenshots, photos to go into the appendix. Did you follow it up with any kind of, like, this was a physical activity, right? So did you follow it up with any blackboard activity, or did you, in written work that you gave to students or exercises? And what was your expectation when you did this variation? And how was the experience that you got in your classroom? Okay. Any comments on logistics, practice, anything another teacher trying this should keep in mind? So supposing somebody else decides to try this activity, right? So your abstract should be complete in such a way that when the other teacher reads the abstract, she will be able to implement this in the classroom. And the fourth part is conclusion and appendix. Okay. So I have walked you through the call for abstracts and that.
अब उसको प्रॉब्लम आएगी मैंने तो ज्वाइन कर ली
Sorry about that. I was trying to mute somebody. Okay. So does anybody have any more questions? Otherwise, over to Meenakshi. Meenakshi will be walking us through. We have another very exciting thing part of CTiS this time. And I would like Meenakshi to share it with all of us.
Yeah, thanks, Sonia. Teachers, as participants, I do hope that you got help with the format of the abstracts. If not, feel free to contact any of us or your colleagues who are already aware with the template and all that. We'll be happy to review and provide with any intermediate feedback that you might need. So while we are at this session, it is also our privilege to announce a new component in this whole computational thinking conference. So it was aptly named as TACT Challenge, TACT for Tactile Accessible Computational Thinking. So all of you here know what computational thinking is. You have implemented it in some way or the other, and you're familiar with the term. And one next step to think about is most of you would have taught school children, are teaching school children or working with school children. But have you imagined the situation, or maybe some of you, a few of you are probably in a situation where you are teaching children with impairment. They could be blind children, they could have partial impairment, they could be deaf or dumb. How to teach computational thinking in to such children? And there are lots and lots of them based out of several different government schools, several blind schools, several schools for the deaf and dumb children. They also need to learn the basics of maths. They also need to learn the basics of computational thinking, right? And we all agree there are millions of them like this. So the challenge is all about that. So while a lot of us have implemented computational thinking in school, which is activity based, the activity needs eyesight. It needs visual ability to be able to compare and do. How will a student who is not able to see or not able to hear learn computational thinking? So the challenge is about coming up with ideas for that and submitting your ideas. Yeah, so so this is the, like, for example, we all know that there is abacus, and a visually impaired student can easily learn addition, multiplication, subtraction, division with abacus. And so many other tools are available. These days, we have 3D printing tools to visualize a lot of things. So as a part of Computational Thinking in Schools 2022 edition, we are happy to launch this Grand TACT Challenge. So we specifically welcome entries for the design of games that are accessible for children with impairment using tactile material, where tactile means children can touch and see and understand and do it, need not be able to do it just by seeing. Like, for example, we all implement activities where we ask them to draw on the board. Sonia just showed a Sudoku which was drawn, right? But a visually impaired child may not be able to see it. So how does he or she learn computational thinking? Do you have any specific ideas? Have you done it as a part of your vast experience in schools? So any challenge that you can think of that you have implemented or you would like to be implemented to teach a child with visual, hearing, or speech impairment in the grades 1 to 8, we're not talking about higher classes, that fits with the broad objectives of computational thinking are most welcome. So as I told you, this is not only for teachers. Please pass the word around to others. Teachers are, of course, welcome to submit. Anybody who's working in computer science in general is welcome to submit. Anybody else, like we had just one PhD research scholar from IIT Delhi who's working towards his research with a whole group of teachers. So like that, there could be other scientists, students who pursue their research in the areas of maths, computer science, software engineering at institutions, universities, high school. Anybody is willing to submit is most welcome. The email address remains the same. You just have to send it to. Just to help us distinguish, it will be a big help if you just write your name, whoever is submitting, maybe not, I mean, it could be more than one. And then you give a name for this. We've given one as an example, beat stringing. I'll tell you what it is. And then write this word, TACT Grand Challenge. This is a part of Computational Thinking 2022. Last date is, you have a little more time than the call for abstracts. So please do consider participating. So like we had for abstracts, this entry also needs to meet some bare minimum criteria. So we need to understand what the structure of the game or activity that you are thinking about or you have already implemented. What is the concept or the area that you're trying to teach the child with whom you are playing this game? What are all the materials that you have used? Sonia was saying just the other school teacher used locally available seeds and fruits. So what are all the materials that you have used? And what is the step-by-step implementation that you have done? And how do you assess whether a child has learned it or not? So we'll walk you through an example. On the right, you see this image where you can see a simple string like a thread and some color beads, right? So I want to teach a very small child, maybe a first standard, a second standard child who is visually impaired or maybe even speech or hearing impaired, some concept. So you begin by giving this child, let's say the child is visually impaired. We'll mentally keep that in mind and walk through the case. You begin by giving a child an already finished string of beads. It could be a small bracelet, it could be a small necklace, it could be an anklet, anything. So let the child feel it, hold it, maybe wear it, and then experience that, it is something worth doing and possessing. And now your goal is to teach the child how to do it himself or herself. So you give the child a reasonably good string and big beads that are safe, colorful, not for visually impaired, but otherwise it is safe to use, and let the child start stringing it. So one of the basic things that we all are aware of is one end of the string should have a knot. Otherwise, as the child is going to put it in, it's going to slip out through the other end and the child is not going to achieve much. So you want the child to learn this, right? You want the child to be able to start by knotting the string himself or herself. So maybe you have this approach by which you keep the thing in a tray or something like that and let the child string the beads through the thread and let it slip out maybe once or twice. And then the child realizes that the beads are not strung in place. And maybe then tell the child that they have to knot it, or any other way in which the child can understand that one end needs to be knotted. And then you could ask the child to go and string it, and maybe end the thing by saying that, whoever is strung the longest string, somebody strung a necklace, somebody strung a bracelet, maybe they could gift it to their sister or mother or aunt or anybody else who would be able to wear it. So this way, the child learns a few concepts. One of the important concepts that the child learns is that you need a way to begin and to end the implementation that you're working on. You can't begin stringing beads unless you have a knot at the end. And to finish the stringing of beads and make a nice looking ornamental material out of it, you still have to put another knot at the end. And your goal is to teach the child this. You could also teach the child to string uniform beads of a uniform size, of a uniform pattern, or maybe make designs out of them, make varieties, maybe, make circular beads or pyramid shaped beads or cube beads, and so on and so forth. So there are several concepts that the child is going to learn in the process of very elementary computational thinking, but imagine the child is visually impaired. So he or she is going to be able to learn this important concept. So like this, some of you might have some other ideas in mind, some other thoughts in mind, or might have seen somebody else implementing it, or you yourself would have implemented it. Feel free to please start thinking about it, talking to others whom you've implemented, or you yourself have done it, and submit your entries. We'll be very happy to review it. And the plan is, if we have a lot of entries, we conduct an exclusive session as a part of the conference to be held in July, where we showcase all these entries, and we will also plan to take it up for implementation with firms and volunteers who are dedicated to implementing computational thinking in schools for the visually impaired. So your work and your contributions will go for a truly noble cause of teaching such children. So we really look forward and welcome entries from all of you. So if there are any specific questions to this TACT Grant Challenge, we'll be happy to answer. Yeah, anybody has any questions? Have any of you implemented any such concepts? Have any of you had experience or know some other teacher who's worked with visually impaired or hearing speech impaired child, trying to teach them the basic concepts in maths? Please do pass the information around. The website should be updated very soon, and we will also send you specific WhatsApp messages that contains details about this challenge.
Actually, there's a question on the chat.
Yeah, there is a question.
if the students of higher classes have any ideas, can they participate?
Yeah, yes, of course they can participate. As I told you, anybody is welcome to submit, right? High school students onwards, they are most welcome to submit. It's a challenge open to all, not only to teachers. If any of your friends are teaching in a school for deaf and dumb, you can talk to them and ask them to submit along with them, submit on their behalf. Anything is all right.
So Meenakshi, this is a great idea. So I think this CTiS, not only we are looking at abstracts, but then when it is extended to such a noble cause, I think this is a great idea that we are giving through CTiS2022. And when he was explaining us the different examples, the example of string that you have given, I think many teachers teaching mathematics are able to correlate with this kind of idea in their classroom. So I am sure that n number of things each teacher is trying in their classroom. So I think we should get at least some ideas coming here for this challenge. So the example was very, very apt, and we are able to correlate with the classroom situation.
Yeah. In fact, we owe a big thanks to, I don't know if you remember last year, we had Supriya and Swami Manohar conducting a session. So it is basically their idea. We are presenting it on their behalf. And they literally have committed a full-time efforts to be able to teach science, maths, and computational thinking to visually impaired students.
True.
So teachers, you may not directly be implementing it, but if you have any suggestion, any idea that you think will work, yes, I am confident of teaching a visually impaired children one concept in mathematics this way. Please do share that, because it will be very valuable for others to learn about it, and for people like Supriya and Swami Manohar who will be actually be able to reach it to the right students.
So Meenakshi, I've also, so all of you who may not have attended last year's CTiS, we had a session on CT and inclusion with Manohar and Supriya Day. I have shared the link of the YouTube on this, and you can have a look. And also for even other things, right? You can go to the CSpathshala YouTube channel. You will be able to see the teacher presentations from last 2 years.
Absolutely.
So it'll be useful. Go and have a look. See, you know, it will give you ideas on what other teachers have presented. And also, if you go to our previous CTiS websites, there is a tab called Proceedings, and the PowerPoint presentations of the final presentations are also uploaded, of all the invited speakers, of all the teachers. Everything is available for you to refer to. And today's session also has been live streamed on YouTube. So in case, you know, any of your friends or any of your anybody in your community has missed today's session, you can share this link. I will put it in the chat box again, and they can go back and look at the session. And now I think we'll just open the floor for questions from you. Anybody has any questions with the call for abstracts, any ideas that have come to your mind after Geeta has shared? Anything. And you know what, I noticed that Susanna is here with us, and Susanna, I would like you to unmute and you should share your experience. So Susanna was one of our teachers that I was telling you made it to the CTiS STEM 2021 conference, and she was also a presenter at CTiS 2020. So very quickly, Susanna, can you unmute? Anyway, while we get Susanna, any questions that you may have?
Hello?
Yes, Susanna, over to you.
Sonia, sorry, can you repeat the question? What were you asking me?
No, we had shared it in my earlier presentation. I had shared that, you know, how your journey, not just your journey, but how a teacher's journey of participation at the CTiS conference and moving all the way up to CTiS STEM 2021.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what I'd like to share with everybody, it's a wonderful journey, especially with there's so much of learning that I personally went through in my, shall I say, old age of having written this document, and Sonia was there all throughout to guide. The idea was it brought a lot of focus and clarity to the way we teach, and especially how to phrase your words for a paper. How to put it across. What should you notice? What should you not notice? How do you write it? How do you present it? And especially even to what is, again, to the fundamental question, what is computational thinking itself, which kind of reinforced because I looked at it from a different angle. I was able to see that through Sonia's guidance. We were able to see a lot of things that are there. The presentation for the Singapore conference was very scary, but all the same, lot of, especially Sonia, Jam, everybody would review the text, and midnight, I would be troubling Sonia to find out what is correct and what is to put in. So the absolute hand holding, that is what I like about this CTiS thing. In terms, you just have to say, "Arey, what will I do here? Atta kai karaycha?" And then suddenly they'll help you unselfishly, and so that it becomes my paper becomes our paper, and that's how this team works. So that is one thing that I still like about it. Sonia?
Thank you. So I thought you were going to complain that Sonia's made me stay up till midnight. Right?
Never.
Scare my teachers away. No, but why I wanted Susanna to share, we also have Kritika with us, because you know what, it was a joint learning experience. It was not something that we did individually. Like Susanna rightly said, it was like a teamwork, and Jam was with us. We learned so much through the experience, and believe me, seeing our teachers there at CTiS2021 conference itself was so heartening. I enjoyed every minute of it. So Kritika, you want to add something?
Yeah, it's like being reflective about one's own work. So when we start, we don't think much about the implementation, impact, and all these things. We will do our work, and like it is given, and we will do towards some other objective, not with the objective of CT implementation or something like that. So after, while writing for the paper, like we went through, so what all will come under computational thinking, how it is impacting the child's learning, how it is connected to the child's own experience, how it enables the child and related to the child's real life experience, and how it enables the child to solve the problems in multiple ways. And all these things, like it is like going deep and deeper. So yeah, it makes the author to reflect upon one's own process, like one's own implementation of the classroom transaction and all these things. It's actually a wonderful experience, and people are there to help 24/7.
That is very
and like it's not like somebody like a scholar, academic, non-academic. It's not like that. It's like a community who is there like a friend to us. Like we don't even feel like a third person. It's like a normal friend, close friend, that you can talk to anything, any idea, share any ideas. How can this be? Why not this be? You can argue, discuss, and finally you will get to the final quality result of it, and you will enjoy the fruit. Yeah.
And it's one thing, one thing writing the paper, writing the paper, there's a lot of help. And then if you're called to present it, even for the presentation also, there is, there's a technique, or what to say, what not to say, so your script, you have to, it's taken, there's a rehearsal run. I mean, kind of work done with Sonia and team, phenomenal. I mean, I'm still, it's been almost 1 year since we did that, but still it's very refreshing, the thought about how it was done. It's a good learning experience for all the teachers who are going to write. I'm really telling you, hand holding is, you don't even feel like, that, oh my God, how will I do this? They help you through that.
Yeah, even language is also not a barrier. See, I'm not a good English speaker actually. So I can communicate it like what I have done, and like you like, for me grammar is something like, oh my god, it's like that. But even for the normal teacher or anybody, like, needn't bother about the language aspect, needn't bother about the grammar thing. Only thing is that ideas matters here. Yeah. And it is not in our culture that teacher has to think and reflect and speak, discuss, share, and all these things are not there for many years now. So this is actually a good platform. And also, like, even there are teachers association, like math association will be there, science association will be there, computer association will be there, but CT is like an integration of all these things. You can find n number of teachers, and it's like breaking the compartment, and you can communicate with other teachers to get the ideas of others. So yeah, it's actually a great platform. Hope you will explore.
Geeta, you want to add? Or teachers, if you have any questions, we can very quickly take.
So very rightly, Kritika has put up all the things in front of the audience today. So this is the community. Together we all learn. Program committee members and each member of this community always extend their hands for help. As far as MIGEs are concerned, we had one conference in the month of Feb, and before lockdown, and then my all teachers, those who were part of implementation, they all have written their experiences. And what Kritika was saying, without thinking that how I'm going to implement, what is it like, they have implemented. But that time they have not thought of what will be its impact and how it is going to help maths learning. But that was an idea they have implemented. But when we had a conference and when they have written their experiences, I always feel this is the process of learning, relearning again, looking into our processes again and again, and then checking or putting the city components. So now my science teachers, social science teachers, language teachers, they are also keen and they are also participating that, oh, how I am using decomposition, how I am going to use pattern recognition in my subject. And in many cases that we are doing it, but now with that approach, they are looking into each aspect. So we had a great experience. It's a great learning experience. And the best part is the support that is given for writing abstracts till the presentation. So I think whatever idea is coming to your mind, and please be open to write it and express it on the paper. And then the format and all that is already available on the site. We will be able to help each one of you put it in that format. So do write your all ideas, do express, feel free to express your all ideas which are implementing in your classroom. So it's always really a wonderful experience to be a part of CTiS.
Thanks, Geeta. So if anybody has any questions, we can take, otherwise then we can close the call.
So Sonia, I had one question from my teacher. I would like to just put up here because
sure.
Other teachers may think. So there is certain experiments our primary students, they do it in science. Okay. And then there are steps taken up, decomposition, pattern and all. But this is implemented. Okay. But that time, the teachers were not aware of all these steps. So now can they relook into this experiments from the perspective of CT and write the abstract?
Meenakshi? Meenakshi.
Yeah, sorry, I think I lost part of what Geeta said.
Will you repeat?
Yes. So Meenakshi, I was telling that in the primary classes, in science, there are experiments which are conducted, very structured kind of experiments. We call it as mini miracle. And then they have done in very proper steps, one by one, observations and conclusions and exploring different ways and all. But when teachers have conducted, they were not aware that these are the components of CT, right? So now can they put up this experience in CTiS?
Yeah, definitely. No, we said it is very much included: science, social science, societal needs.
Right.
Any of them. So
Any
the
process that
sounds
is
good,
step by
actually.
step.
Miracle
Sorry.
sounds really good. So please, most welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm so glad, Geeta, you asked, because this was something that Manisha also asked earlier, that teachers have done all this in the class. So that is why my request to each one of you who have joined the call today, don't think that, oh, is this something that I can write? You start writing, you start reflecting, and like Meenakshi has said, you can write to us at our email ID. We will be more than happy to, guide you in case you get stuck with questions. And you know what Kritika and Susanna have rightly said. So it is a joint learning process. Do not worry at all. Yeah. So anybody has any other questions, any last comments? I hope all of you found the session useful. This was organized just so that we could walk you through it. And we really look forward to hearing from you. Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Darshana Kamath here.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I don't know whether it is related to CS or no. We have conducted one project to build a sustainable house. Okay. And we, from grade 8, we have student only come up with various ideas. They prepare their homes in groups with different material. And then the second part, we teachers ask them to make the house with wind power or whatever. It should be sustainable, less energy consumption, and all criteria only we decided. And student come up with their own ideas and prepare their models. We have lots of pictures about it. But how, I don't know whether how it can relate it to CS. Can you just please guide us?
Meenakshi, you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, as long as there is a well-defined process step, and like, for example, to be able to do one thing, you need a set of things, and then I finish that step, and the next step follows that step. Without the previous step being fully complete, the next step cannot move on. So if you can organize it this way, as you rightly said, you have a lot of photos, you have clear documentation, maybe ideas came in from students, some other student completed the idea. So as long as you can document it as a step-by-step procedure,
okay, ma'am,
then I think it should be fine to submit it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes, anybody else?
And one last question, ma'am.
Sure.
Correlate with computer only?
With computational thinking.
Yeah,
not computer.
Correct, ma'am.
Yeah, not computer per se.
Yeah.
Computer is separate. You link it with the principles of. So which school are you from?
Computational thinking, correct.
Yeah, which school are you from?
I'm from SB Patil Public School, Pune.
Okay. Great. Yeah, glad you asked that question. So you link it with the pillars of computational thinking. You look at, so if they have taken a project, they would have used decomposition, right? And then broken the problem into smaller parts. So how did they do that? If they're building a house, how did they do that? Did they look at any other patterns? What was the abstraction used? All of that you can imbibe in the project.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, great. Yeah, anybody else? Any other teachers? If you have any questions, we are more than happy to take it. Geeta, do you want to thank everybody? And we can close it, I think, if they don't have any more questions.
Yes. So I would like to thank each one of you. And I think definitely from today's session, you might have got various ideas. And thank you, Meenakshi, for introducing this challenge. And thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you, each one of you. And we are looking forward to meet all of you in CTiS2022. Do put your emails if you have further queries, and feel free to contact the committee members. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks,
Geeta,
everyone.
yeah.
Thank you, Geeta.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sonia ma'am, thank you, Geeta ma'am. At least we had some clarity now. This is Mithila Joshi.